Hi guys, welcome back to the Daily Dreamer. I'm just gonna go ahead and get started because I am having issues today, and so we're gonna get right to it. All right, so I wake up, come to, and I am sitting at a desk, and I notice that when I'm at a desk, I'm always there to learn. So I just take in my surroundings and wait for me to learn what I've got to learn. Well, as I take in my surroundings, I notice there are other desks, there are other entities, there are other kids, there are other people. They're all diligently waiting for the teacher to arrive. So as I take in my surroundings, I notice that I'm also sitting in what appears to be murky waters, maybe like a swamp. Although none of us were absorbing it, none of our clothes were, I didn't feel it. It was just placed there. And so was everybody else. So that was kind of interesting. The teacher arrives, and the teacher is wanting to give us a test. So he passes out the paper, and we all take one, and then we all start writing. I'm feverishly writing, okay? I don't know what test it was, but I was writing like there was no tomorrow. When my awakened self looks down at my other self taking the test, I happened to notice that the paper was blank. That was kind of interesting. So there was no words on the paper, even though I was writing. My participating self is feverishly continuing on, trying to finish up the test. As I finish up, I happen to notice that the girl sitting over here, someone who, for some reason or another, I didn't get along with, I didn't care for, I didn't like. And it was an overwhelming, energetic presence of that disdain, if you will, for that person, which is interesting. She's just sitting there and she's just filing her nails. She's just chewing gum, just doing her thing. And I thought, well, doesn't she care about the test? I don't care about her. Let's focus, okay? I got to focus on this. When I was done with the test, I took the test up to the teacher, who was a Tibetan monk. Anyways, I took it up to the teacher, and and I'm so excited. I'm waiting for my grade, and he gives me a great big F. I was so upset. I was so upset. I wanted to cry. Why on earth was I getting an F? She comes up, cuts in front, puts her paper down. She gets a big A. Well, now I'm even more upset. And I go to convey a thought, the question, why did I fail? And his thought comes back to me, the answer, because you failed to put your name at the top of the test. Well, that caused me to fail? Are we serious? So what happens? I don't know. I was whisked back to consciousness. Man, what a dream. So what happens? I go into a meditative state, and what comes up for me? Well, shadow self. That's what came up. I failed the test. I failed to put my name at the top of the answers. And those answers, I think, had to do with the swampy water, muddy waters that were around me. The shadow self, my shadow self. So yeah, I had all the answers to the test, but I forgot to put my name and take a look and see who it actually reflected upon, because it certainly wasn't anything else outside of me. So let's go discuss that so we can learn to deal with it in a healthy way, because it really is only going to benefit us. Eventually it'll benefit everyone else, but first and foremost, the shadow self needs to benefit us. So let's discuss how we get to understanding our shadow self. Folks, it has everything to do with solitude. Did you know that solitude is an art form? Do you know how to get to solitude? Because eventually, folks, you're going to have to deal with it. But how are you going to be able to deal with it if you don't know where it is or how to get there? Let's take a moment and discuss this. There's a saying from an old French physicist, mathematician, Blaise Pascal. And he said, all of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. And he wasn't lying. Folks, we live in a very hyper-connected world. And the benefits from this world, this connectedness, if you will, it's become revolutionary. From the cell phone all the way up to the internet, we have information technologies that have brought us closer as a world together. But you know what? Despite all the connectedness in this world, as fast as it is, and all of the amazing benefits from it, it has actually left us disconnected with ourselves. The problem in being in an overly connected world is that while we've become connected to everything out there, we have become disconnected with ourselves. The hyper-connected world out there is out of connection with personal connection. It is out of tune. We are so hardwired to be tuned into others that we have lost sight of tuning into ourselves. And why not? I mean, it's really scary to look within ourselves, isn't it? I mean, why be alone when we never really have to? There's dating sites, there's social sites, there's meetups. I mean, it's everywhere, wherever you go. All we have to do is just literally tune in, right? But, the more that we go ahead and tune into the world, we're tuning out of ourselves. The more that we seek these distractions, it helps us avoid ourselves. The scarier the unknown aspects of ourselves become. Because then we become addicted to selfness, someone else besides ourselves. Now we need to have people around us so that we don't have to deal with ourselves. And that's not healthy, folks. But you know what? No matter where you go, no matter how many people you surround yourself with, guess what? There you still are. There you still stand. So you're going to have to deal with yourselves eventually. The question is it going to be done on your terms, your healthy terms? Or is it going to be done on the repressed shadow terms? When all of those ugly qualities about you have to come up out of an incident that you did not foresee. What is the shadow self? It's absolutely everything that you hide from everybody. It's all the ugly qualities that you don't want anyone to see, See, this is what makes solitude a very important skill to know and understand. It is a very important skill that nobody has ever taught us. The art of solitude. It is an art. It's finely honed. And it takes practice. It takes lots of it. That's why that 5 minutes a day is really important. Becoming efficient in the art of solitude is putting yourself in an analyzation mode that can be very uncomfortable because you're having to deal with all of the qualities about yourself, the good and the bad. The bad, the boring, the depressedness, the fears, the anxieties, the worries, the ugly parts about you that you don't ever want anyone else to know or see. That is why the art of solitude is an art. Because how many of us can sit and deal with the ugly part of ourselves and do it in a very healthy, holistic way? So that when we are dealt with situations that are unknown or unforeseen, we're not reacting and those ugly qualities about us are popping out and angry at the world and lashing out. That's your shadow self reacting because you didn't sit with yourself for 5 minutes. Simply put, the art of solitude is a vital ability to be alone, to allow for the deep connection with yourself, and done so in a very healthy way. The irony about all of that is that connecting with yourself, it's going to make you better at being able to connect with others. Because the healthier that your love is for yourself, the healthier it's going to be for other people. As the great Osho once said, if you like a flower, you pick it. But if you love a flower, then you water it. It's appreciation over possession. When we merely like ourselves, we diversely pick, if you will, or disassociate the qualities that best suit us. And then we take the rest of them and we repress them. We hide them away from society. And that eventually becomes your shadow energy, your shadow self. But when you love yourself, you learn to water or honor the wholeness of yourself. Healthy in a healthy way, in a holistic way. And it even includes all of those qualities about yourself that you don't like, the boring, depressing thoughts, The ugly, the negative qualities, the regrets, the guilt, the fears, the anxieties, the jealousness, because you're able to deal with it. You're sitting and you're analyzing as to why, and that's very healthy. You don't let it become unhealthy and possess you. You are in control. They are not in control of you. And when you don't deal with them and you allow them to sit and stir, then eventually they do become possessed, if you will. You become possessed by your shadow self. You become the energies that you weren't able to deal with. So yeah, you become jealous. Yeah, you become greedy. Yeah, you become angry, full of rage, because you didn't take 5 minutes to deal with it. Learning the art of solitude is learning how to actually appreciate yourself, both good and bad. Rather than to possess it, there are many, many, many benefits in learning how to deal with the art of solitude, learning how to fine-tune those ugly qualities so that you understand them. One of them is being able to allow yourself to have a deeper self-consciousness about it. Solitude, it definitely leads to a deeper appreciation of the self because, well, there's nothing to distract you from tuning into you. You know, away from others, you're actually able to sit and account for the turmoil within, that anger, that rage, the jealousy. When you have had time to sit with yourself, to deal with it, then you're able to find a way that you can deal with it in a way that it's not going to harm others, let alone yourself. It's yourself that it's really going to harm. All of your anxieties, your doubts, and your fears are going to come to the surface. It has to. That's how you deal with your shadow self. It's scary, and it's not going to be easy, and you will cry, and you will be angry, but you have to do it. That's the only way to start healing yourself, folks. This is the raw stuff. This is the most real you will ever be with yourself. This is the real you. Is sitting with yourself and getting to know that shadow self so that you can deal with it to heal it. Self-appreciation is learning to engage yourself in a very holistic way. And that means reconciling and facing your own inner demons. It means coming to terms with your guilt and your fears and authentically honoring them so that they do not dishonor you later on. Deep solitude puts all of this in perspective for yourself. So a deep self-conscious teaches you how to respect and appreciate what makes you unique and authentic, however eccentric or ugly or disturbing that uniqueness may be. It teaches you to appreciate yourself. Another definite benefit from dealing with your shadow self and dealing with it in a healthy way is you get a deeper sense of freedom, if you will. The art of solitude allows you, it teaches you how to be balanced and present. It teaches you how to be healthy. When you get away from the rat race of everybody in the world and you're able to see why they're all racing around, then you're able to sit and compare and see why they're racing and see if racing is still something that is for you. You get to see the bigger picture, if you will, despite being in the smaller picture. You're able to disassociate yourself and look at it from a different, detached, outside point of view. You just get a whole different view, if you will. You're able to integrate the whole into perspective. We become free, very free, that in a way that no prison, whether it be real or imagined, can contain you. Folks, it's going to teach you that no matter how alone you feel, we are all connected in a sense that goes far deeper than any amount of interconnection can portray for us. How do we find out our shadow selves? Where do we find out where to even start? Well, let's start with this. Sit down, take 5 minutes, and what you do is you write a list out. And you write out all of the things of someone or something that you absolutely hate. Now, I want you to write down everything that you absolutely despise about them. What enrages you about them? What makes you angry? What makes you jealous over it? What makes you cry about it. What makes it all about the injustice of it all? About that person, about that event, about that time. Write it down, get it all out. Every last bit of it. Cry over it if you have to. Write down the cruelty of the person or thing that they did to you. Write down everything that angers you about them. Now when you're done, I want you to sit there, take a good long look. Then I want you to put your name at the top of the piece of paper and say hello to your shadow self. Folks, deep solitude teaches us this, that when we are alone, we realize that we are never truly alone. It's the lone wolf, the divine animal inside all of us that will understand. And as Atticus once said, we are never truly alone. We are all wolves howling at the same moon. So folks, until next dream, thanks so much for joining me for the Daily Dreamer, and many blessings to you.